Xbox updates are coming to the Xbox handhelds, and one of the things that people will want in the future is the ability to play older Xbox games on the device. Will that happen? We have a story going around and an update to that story that we will talk about. We have some information about the next game coming from the Helldivers developer. Will this game be landing on Xbox? As we know, Helldivers 2 is there now. And Starfield, as we know, Starfield, it kicked off everything in 2024 with the Xbox business update, with them updating their strategy and putting games onto PlayStation. But Starfield was the one that kicked it off as the one that was going to be landing on the PlayStation 5. It still has not landed, and a lot of people have thought it was going to be landing this year. Looks like that may not be the case. So we will get into all that. But before we do, if you enjoy daily gaming news and content, hit the subscribe button, share, like, all of that great stuff. Let's get into the news. So the Xbox ROG handhelds are out, the Ally and the Ally X, and it is a device that has been very controversial in terms of what people are looking at, what it can do. Does it play your console games? And right now it does not play your console games, or games that are not available on the Xbox PC app or that do not have Xbox Play Anywhere, but it does play a ton of stuff. It's still a device that gives you a huge catalog of games to jump into, but if you're looking to play like an older Xbox 360 game or an older OG Xbox game, those will most likely not be playable natively from the Xbox app, aside from maybe through cloud or through remote play if you do have your Xbox console set up in your home. One of the things, though, that Xbox does need to work on, and I'm hoping they are continuing down this path, is continuing with backwards compatibility, continuing with giving you the option to play the entire catalog of Xbox across all generations. And that would have to be done via emulation. You take a look at right now on the Xbox Series consoles, when you load up an Xbox 360 game, it opens up an emulator. It brings you into the Xbox 360 experience, pulling you away from the Series X and S. And that has been a great way of being able to bring more games over to the platform. The backwards compatibility program itself had wind down, and I think they're bringing it back up. We've seen some job postings show up where they are trying to get back into that. Obviously, the future of Xbox with Play Anywhere, and this is an Xbox marketing campaign, means that they have to continue to make sure that everything is going to be accessible no matter on what device that you are on. One of the things in the future for the handle that will be massive is if they do bring over 360 and OG Xbox games, and they can do that via emulation. We do have a story going on here. Now, Jez Corden is the one where this information is coming from. He's already updated it and basically saying this is him just talking. He doesn't really know if any of this is going to happen, but here is the story because I think it's worth noting simply because we've seen Xbox talk about this in the past. We've seen job postings pop up. So I do think this is going to be something that does end up occurring at some point. But as of right now, there is no official statement or information about that happening. But it says here, Microsoft is allegedly working on Xbox emulation for ROG Ally Handheld. And they say that this comes via the Xbox 2 Discord. Jez Corden speaking here, saying why it matters. This is the article saying why it matters that the Xbox ROG Ally getting emulation would finally resolve one of the biggest criticisms raised by gamers, letting select titles from older consoles run natively on the devices. And it's kind of funny. We'll get into what Jess says, but I'm going to go on a little rant here. When we're talking about the Xbox handles, what we've seen over the weekend is anybody who's been posting anything about this device is basically having tons of negative comments in their post simply because you have fanboys on the PlayStation side that are jealous of this handheld. They don't want this to be an Xbox. They don't want anybody to have fun with it. It's kind of mind-boggling because the reality is this is a handle that would be great even for PlayStation gamers because it gives you access to literally everything. You have PlayStation games on there as well. And it does play games good. It does play games very good. It is an expensive device, though. I did a review, so go check that out. I don't think this is for everybody. And I think if you're on the fence, you should probably wait before jumping into this handheld. But it is a good device from a hardware perspective. But here is what Jez does say in the Discord. He says, also, the people saying that the Xbox Ally isn't an Xbox because it can't play actual Xbox games might eat crow next year if what I've heard is true. He says, continues here saying, I've heard there's work being done on an emulator that will run at least some actual Xbox games on Windows PC. Think the Xbox 360 back compat emulator as an example of the subset. Also, would need to partner with some publishers and devs to greenlight their games because licensing, etc. So it won't be all games, maybe just a few. I don't know. We'll see. Might not even be true. Now, that is massive if that does come to fruition. I do believe, and this is just completely a guess, I have no insider information, that Xbox is definitely working on stuff like this because they are pushing their campaign of this is an Xbox. And that this is an Xbox thing doesn't work unless they're able to get as much content over to every single device as possible. And you've seen them starting with the Xbox Play Anywhere. The Play Anywhere feature on Xbox is the best feature right now. It is consumer friendly. It gives you cloud saves across the board, no matter what device that you are playing on, and more publishers are taking part of it. So they have to continue to flesh that out. But backwards compatibility also is a massive thing because that was one of the major things for me and for a lot of people that really sold. They got people excited for the Xbox Series X and S. The fact that they were bringing over your entire generations of Xbox into one console, and you could even put discs in and it worked. Huge feature. They did abandon the backwards compatibility program pretty early on into the Series X and S, licensing issues, all that stuff. It just probably the cost benefit was not there, as the reality is, although backwards compatibility is great, they're not making any money off of this. That is basically just all, I would say, goodwill going into bringing backwards compatible games, and you're not getting that many people playing older 360 and OG Xbox games. But they're going to have to continue with that progress. And if this does come true, because we're seeing updates coming out fast and furious, it does seem like for these handhelds, they said more coming next month with the whole auto SR stuff and the AI thing features that they're going to be adding in. They're going to continue to bring more out for years to come, and eventually it'll get to a place where the ecosystem is better for people who want to play every single game from their catalog. And I'm sure by that time as well, we'll have even more Xbox devices on the market. Now, with all of that being said, Jez also weighs in here because he wants to make sure, I guess, that people know that this isn't confirmed or anything like that. This is in response to this tweet that Microsoft reportedly developing Xbox simulation for Xbox Ally in Windows devices, and linking this article here from Twisted Voxel that says that. And Jess says, on this clickbait, I was discussing unverified speculative rumors that might not even be true in a conversational setting, but these guys turned it in for clicks. Don't put any stock in this for now. So we will have to wait and see if this does come true, but it is definitely my hope that it does come true, and sooner rather than later, because that'll be awesome to be able to get your whole catalog. And then who knows where the goalposts are going to move from there with people who want to destroy this handheld for some weird reason. You're seeing lots of narratives out there. You're seeing people talk about it, and it's just kind of been, it's been a completely negative weekend towards the handheld on social media from the fanboys, but it hasn't really been that for people who've actually experienced it. They like it. There's things they like. Things they dislike. One of the things that is a consensus across the board is that it feels good in your hands and it plays games well. So it will continue to do that. In fact, one guy who's been pretty hype about the ROG Xbox Ally X has been the former PlayStation boss in Shuhei Yoshida. And I find this funny simply because of the replies in the comments. I think he's just playing games, maybe trolling a little bit, but I think he's just playing games because the guy likes games and he will play whatever, wherever. And he tweeted this out, that Ghost of Tsushima plays well on my ROG Xbox Ally X, and showing some screenshots of him playing, obviously a first-party PlayStation game on the device. And you go down into the comments, and it is just riddled with people being mad that he is doing this. It's funny. It's really funny, in my opinion, the craziness that this has caused in some people's brains over the weekend, that they're so angry that this is an Xbox handheld and that it plays Xbox games, plays PlayStation games. It has an Xbox logo on it, but because of that, it has caused some insane talking back and forth on social media. I do believe it is a vocal minority though, and it doesn't really have any weight in terms of how it affects how these things do perform in terms of sales and all that stuff. Now, when it comes to Xbox games going over to PlayStation. We all know what happened in 2024 before Xbox came out and did their whole business update. Articles published talking about Starfield going over to the PlayStation 5, and that kicked off literally everything that we're still talking about today. And you still have people extremely angry that there are Xbox games on PlayStation. The rumors were now, after it hadn't dropped on PlayStation, was that it was going to be coming out this year, probably announced sometime in this season, and it was going to be dropping with the new Starfield update that was coming out. Well, now we have some more information that that may not be the case. It doesn't look like it is going to be coming to PlayStation 5 this year. We have this article here from Insider Gaming saying Starfield's PS5 port will not be announced this year, it is claimed. And this comes via a reliable insider who has revealed the announcement for the port will not arrive until 2026. Nate the Hates. Again, he was somebody I think who did initially report that this was dropping on PS5 back in 2024. But he says here, he was recently asked whether there was any new information to share about Starfield's PS5 launch. And he says that he believes that the announcement will be in 2026 unless plans change. And he previously confirmed that the game is indeed releasing for the PlayStation 5, and the intent of releasing the port should be announced in 2025. However, now it seems players won't see an announcement until next year. A report from another source also stated earlier this year that Starfield and its new expansion should be released for PS5 by spring of 2026. So I do think Starfield is coming to PS5, so I think it's just a matter of time. I don't think because it's taken this long that they've decided not to put it on the platform. Obviously, what's more than likely going on here is the expansion DLC stuff is maybe taking longer to get out, and they're planning it for 2026. And then they'll release an edition on the PS5 that includes maybe everything in there for a full price, or maybe they'll just launch it on the PS5, just the base game, and then sell the DLC as extra, all of that type of stuff that they obviously do on the other platforms. So we'll see what happens here. I think it will launch on the PS5 though. It makes complete sense that Starfield will be one of those games within Xbox that they do release. Their strategy still is somewhat confusing though as to what goes to the PS5 and what doesn't, because you still have a game like South of Midnight, which I would assume could use some more sales, that is still not landed on the PlayStation 5. Keeper, not on the PlayStation 5. So I wonder exactly what the strategy is, which games are going over, and will those smaller games ever go over? Maybe they're looking at it in the sense that smaller games, because even Hi-Fi Rush, when it landed on the PS5, didn't do well. They're just probably going to reduce their costs of developing and optimizing for another platform and not put those on the competing console. And finally, when again, multi-platform, we'll stick on talking about that. Helldivers 2 landed on Xbox. Game sold very well, really brought the game back and got a lot more people playing and jumping into it. I also think that Halo crossover had a huge effect on that itself. But Helldivers 2, their next game that they are working on, the developers here are potentially working on a new co-op action game, and it will more than likely be launching on to Xbox itself. This is a new job listing that has posted up here, and this is Arrowhead Studios. For their next big project, they say, join our quest in making the world's best co-op action games. We're looking for a talented senior system designer to join our growing design department and help shape the foundation of a brand new unannounced project. This is your chance to be part of a co-op action game from the start. You'll be at the heart of building and tuning the core systems, progression, loops, and combat feel like an Arrowhead game. And they say it's not just the apparent success of Helldivers 2, but Arrowhead's Xbox port, when it has come out, the team came out and said that it is 100% funded by ourselves. So that will more than likely put this game on multi-platform. They're fully funding this game, and it's not going to be backed by PlayStation. PlayStation isn't going to make them hold it off of other platforms. Next game from Arrowhead looks like if you do have an Xbox, you're going to have no problem going out there and playing it. Unless, of course, deals come up between this posting and then the time that the game does come out. Maybe they need more funding, and that's when somebody does step in and then tries to make it an exclusive. But I do think Helldivers 2 landing on Xbox was a test to see, is there a major audience here for this game on the Xbox platform? And obviously the answer is clearly yes, and that's not surprising because it's a third-person shooter multiplayer game, which are always do well on the Xbox platform, and multiplayer games generally do very well on Xbox. But I will end the video there, guys. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to hit that thumbs up. If you are new here, hit that subscribe, and I will catch you guys in the next video.